The galaxy lag, the great chamber of the Galactic Defense Council was silent, heavy with fear and failure. The air hummed softly with energy, the floor reflecting the light of a giant machine that stood at its center, the Sentinel scanner. It was a massive circular device built of glowing crystal and ancient alloys, older than any civilization present. Its pulsing blue light stretched across the walls like veins of a living creature. Hundreds of alien warriors stood in a long, proud line before it. Each one had come from the farthest corners of the galaxy. Champions, heroes, generals, and protectors of their own kind. They were the strongest of the strong, chosen by their people to save what little hope remained. Every species in that room had lost something to the Void Swarm, the unstoppable enemy that devoured stars, shattered planets, and left nothing behind but silence. The swarm could not be reasoned with. It could not be bribed, captured, or destroyed by normal means. For decades, the galaxy had been searching for one thing that could stand against it, and that search led to the Project Origin. The machine, the Sentinel scanner, was the key to awakening that project. It would select one being whose DNA matched the code of the first builders, the ancient race that had vanished long before recorded time. Whoever the scanner accepted would become the host for Origin's power, a weapon that could save the galaxy. But the machine had not accepted anyone. A giant warrior from the reptilian world of Draxon stepped forward. His scales glimmered under the light, his golden eyes burning with determination. "I am Corvran, son of the War Clans," he growled. "No one is stronger than me." He placed his hand on the scanner. The light turned from blue to red. A voice, cold and mechanical, echoed through the hall. "DNA rejected. Incompatible with Project Origin." The warrior snarled, slammed his fist against the ground, and stormed away. Next came a winged guardian from the skies of Vera. Her feathers shimmered silver, her presence majestic. "The ancestors of the stars guide me," she said softly as she touched the scanner. Again the same result. DNA rejected. Incompatible with Project Origin. Her wings lowered. Her face fell. She walked away without a word. One by one they came, soldiers, generals, mystics, and scientists, each of them carrying the last hope of their people. And every time the same words filled the chamber like a death sentence. DNA rejected. Incompatible. Whispers spread among the crowd. Some said the project was a myth. Others said it was a trap, a cruel joke left behind by the extinct builders. The council elder, a tall being with glowing eyes and silver skin, raised his staff to silence them. His voice trembled as he spoke. "This scanner was built by the ones who made us all. If no one is chosen, then the galaxy has already been judged unworthy." No one spoke after that. The silence was heavy, almost sacred. The hum of the scanner seemed to grow louder, like a heartbeat in a dying room. From the balcony above, soldiers watched as hope slipped away. The atmosphere was filled with exhaustion and quiet despair. Some warriors removed their armor, laying it at their feet, symbols of surrender. The council's lead scientist, an insectoid named Relkar, walked to the elder and whispered, "We have tested every species known to the archives. There are no more candidates left." The elder's voice broke slightly. "Then it is over." But at that exact moment, the door at the far end of the chamber opened with a soft hiss. Every head turned. A small figure stepped inside. His steps were slow but steady, his uniform old and patched. He carried no weapon, no armor, just a tired look and eyes that burned with quiet determination. He was human. The alien stared. Whispers spread again, this time sharper, mocking. "A human? They still exist? Why send one of them? Their planet was forgotten long ago. Fragile, weak creatures. This is not their place," but the human did not respond. He simply walked forward, his boots echoing on the metal floor. He looked around, at the mighty warriors who had failed, at the glowing machine that judged them all. And then he stopped in front of the scanner. His name was Elias Ward. A soldier from a forgotten Earth colony, a survivor of wars no one remembered. His face was calm, but behind his eyes was a storm. Pain, loss, and something deeper, defiance. He looked at the glowing machine and whispered to himself, "You've rejected everyone else. Let's see if you'll reject me too." A Draxonian warrior laughed bitterly. "Human, you are wasting our time. Leave before the machine burns you." Elias smiled faintly, not with arrogance but with quiet courage. "Maybe it will. Maybe it won't, but someone has to try, right?" He reached out his hand, slow, steady, fearless, and touched the scanner. The moment his fingers met the surface, the blue light pulsed brighter than it ever had before. The hum deepened into a roar. Energy surged through the room, shaking the walls. Every warrior froze. The council elder's eyes widened in disbelief. For the first time, the scanner spoke in a trembling voice. "Analyzing, unidentified anomaly detected." And as the light surrounded Elias, the chamber that had been filled with despair suddenly came alive, with hope and fear. Something had changed, something had awakened. The chamber trembled as the blue light from the scanner flared brighter than anyone had ever seen. Beams of energy rippled through the air like waves on water, lighting the walls and reflecting off the faces of stunned alien warriors. No one dared to move. The hum of the machine grew louder, deeper, almost like a heartbeat. Elias Ward stood still in the center of it all. The light wrapped around him, painting his human form in shades of silver and white. For a moment he felt as if the machine was reaching into him, not just his body, but his memories, his pain, his very soul. Images flashed behind his eyes, Earth burning, his comrades falling. The sound of his mother's voice when she told him to keep fighting no matter what. He didn't know why, but the scanner seemed to feel it too. The voice of the machine echoed through the vast hall. Analyzing, unidentified genetic anomaly, recalibrating. The Draxonian warrior Kor Vran stepped back, his golden eyes wide. "It's responding." That thing never responded like this before. The council elder gripped his staff tightly. "Impossible," he whispered. "The scanner has rejected every warrior for decades. How could it react to a human?" Elias could barely hear them. The light was so bright he could see nothing else. His chest burned, his heart pounded like a drum. He wanted to let go, to step back. But something deep inside told him not to. He gritted his teeth and whispered, "Come on. If you're going to kill me, then do it fast." The scanner suddenly stopped humming. The chamber fell into complete silence. Every being in the room held its breath. Then the voice spoke again, calm but powerful. "Human DNA. Recognized. Lineage confirmed. Access granted." The floor beneath them shook. The walls of the chamber shifted and unfolded like giant petals opening to the light. Hidden mechanisms came to life, revealing massive metallic pillars glowing with ancient symbols. Every alien turned in shock as new lines of light connected the scanner to the floor, forming a vast circle of energy. The words none of them expected to hear echoed across the room, words that froze them in disbelief. Project Origin. Activation sequence initiated. Gasps filled the hall. Some fell to their knees. Others backed away in fear. Even the council elder looked terrified. No, this cannot be. Only the first builders were meant to command Origin. Elias stumbled back as the light faded slightly. His body was trembling, his breathing heavy. The scanner's glow softened, forming a faint halo around him. He looked up at the crowd. Hundreds of powerful warriors all staring at him as if they were seeing a ghost. "What did I do?" he whispered. The insectoid scientist Relkar ran forward, his many eyes shining with excitement. You activated it. The code we could not unlock, when it answered you. Only a direct descendant of the Ancient Ones could do this." Elias frowned. "Descendant? What are you talking about?" "I'm just a soldier. My world was barely surviving before it fell apart." Relkar trembled. Then maybe your world was never what it seemed, the Drexonian warrior growled, disbelief and pride clashing inside him. You mean to tell me this fragile creature holds the blood of the gods? The council elder raised his hand. Silence. The scanner does not lie. If it has accepted him, then he carries the legacy of the first builders, or the ones who created life among the stars. A cold realization spread across the room. For thousands of years, alien races had believed they were the pinnacle of evolution. But now, standing before them was a human. Small, scarred, humble, who carried the DNA of the very beings who gave birth to their galaxy. Elias looked at the scanner again. If what you're saying is true, then maybe that's why it felt familiar. The elder tilted his head. Familiar? When I touched it, Elias said softly, it didn't feel like a machine. It felt alive, like it remembered me. A hush fell over the chamber. Then the scanner spoke again, its voice gentler this time, almost warm. Welcome back, descendant of origin. The light spread across the room, touching every wall, every being, every heart that still dared to hope. The old metal began to hum like it was breathing again. The ground beneath them shifted, revealing enormous machinery buried deep below the surface, a hidden power core that stretched miles beneath the planet. The alien warriors could only stare in awe as a massive holographic emblem rose from the center, the mark of the first builders, glowing with human DNA signatures. The council elder sank to his knees. By the stars, we thought humanity was extinct. We thought their world was lost, but they were the beginning all along. Elias stood there quietly, the light still glowing faintly around him. For the first time in years, he didn't feel small. He didn't feel weak. He felt connected to something vast and ancient, something that had been waiting for him. He turned his eyes toward the distant stars beyond the chamber's dome. His voice was soft but filled with a growing strength. If humanity really started it all, he said, then maybe it's time we finish what we began. The scanner pulsed once more, almost like it understood. And somewhere deep within the planet, the heart of Project Origin began to awaken. The chamber was alive with light now, the hum of the scanner resonating deep in the bones of every being present. The air shimmered as the machine extended its energy through the floor, walls, and ceiling, touching every corner of the ancient room. For the first time in centuries, the legend of Project Origin was no longer just a story. It was real, and it had awakened because of a single human. Elias Ward stood in the center, his chest rising and falling rapidly. The glow wrapped around him like a second skin, warm but heavy. He could feel the energy probing him, not with violence but with curiosity, as if the machine itself wanted to understand the man before it. Memories not his own brushed the edges of his mind. Flashes of impossible battles, distant planets, and beings who looked like him but carried unimaginable power. The insectoid scientist, Relkar stumbled forward, voice trembling with awe. He is not just accepted. He is chosen. The scanner is recognizing him as one of the first builders' bloodline. A winged Vera soldier, her silver feathers trembling, gasped. That cannot be. Humans were weak. Their colonies fell long ago. How could one survive to activate this? Elias didn't answer. He could barely think over the pulse of energy coursing through him. Each heartbeat felt like it echoed through the entire planet. Something ancient had awakened in him. Something that had been waiting, buried beneath time and space until now. The scanner pulsed once more, stronger, brighter. Then it spoke again, not in its cold mechanical tone but with a voice that vibrated with life. Welcome, descendant. The legacy of Origin has chosen its host. The words echoed like a bell, filling the chamber with reverence. Every alien warrior froze, eyes wide, as though the meaning of their universe had just shifted. What does this mean? Corvran the Drexonian growled. How can a fragile human, command the power of the builders? We are warriors of the galaxy. We should be the ones chosen. Relkar's multiple eyes gleamed with a strange excitement. No, Corvran, that is exactly the point. Humans were thought weak, insignificant, but they are the original architects. Every species, every genetic design you see around you came from them, and now through this human origin awakens. Elias looked down at his hands, trembling. But why me? I'm just a soldier. I'm not a god, not a creator. The scanner's light pulsed, reaching into him deeper than before. A surge of visions flooded his mind. Memories of Earth, of the first colonies and distant stars, of the builders' struggles to save life across galaxies. He saw ships burning in silent space, planets forming, civilizations rising and falling. He felt pain, joy, and responsibility all at once. Then a whisper, almost a thought in his own mind, yet older than the stars. You are not just a soldier. You are the key. Humanity was always meant to return. Elias staggered, his knees nearly giving out. But when he looked up, he saw the faces of the alien warriors. They had come with hope, yes, but also with doubt and arrogance. And now they looked to him, the smallest, least impressive being in the room, with a mix of fear and awe. The scanner's glow intensified. It stretched across the chamber, touching every wall, connecting to the machinery buried deep below. The floor split open in places, revealing a network of glowing conduits, like veins carrying some ancient life force through the planet. A massive holographic structure began to rise from the center. A colossal ship, dormant for eons, built of metal and crystal, humming with potential. Symbols of unknown design floated around it, pulsing with energy that resonated with Elias's own heartbeat. Project Origin, Relkar whispered. It is not just a weapon. It is a world engine, a starship the size of a city. And it responds only to your DNA, human. You are its captain, its core, its soul. Elias swallowed hard. He felt overwhelmed, terrified, but also strangely connected. The power that flowed through him was immense, but it was not dangerous, at least not yet. It was trusting him, waiting for him to understand what it wanted him to do. The alien warriors stepped back, a mix of respect and fear in their eyes. They had seen power before, but nothing like this. It was not just strength or speed. It was something older, wiser. A presence that reminded them that humans were more than they had ever imagined. Elias raised his hands, feeling the pulse of energy answering him, almost like it had a heartbeat of its own. A voice, no, not a voice, a memory that echoed in his mind. You were made to survive the impossible, and now the impossible comes. He looked toward the distant stars visible through the chamber's dome. Beyond them, he knew the void swarm was approaching, a wave of destruction that had consumed entire civilizations. Yet for the first time in centuries he felt hope, not just for himself, but for every being in the galaxy. He clenched his fists, his body glowing faintly with the merging of human and machine, flesh and energy. Then we stop them, he whispered. We stop them no matter what it takes. The scanner pulsed again, confirming the choice. Origin had awakened, and it had chosen its champion. The galaxy had a chance, and that chance was a human. The chamber had grown quiet, but not in the way of peace. It was a heavy, trembling silence, the kind that comes when everything you thought you knew has been ripped away. The alien warriors looked at Elias with eyes wide as moons, some in awe, some in fear. The once mighty Draxonian Corvran could barely hold his jaw closed. The Vera Guardian's wings drooped as if her body could not bear the truth she was seeing. The scanner's light wrapped around Elias like a cocoon, pulsing gently now, almost as if it were breathing. Its voice echoed, calm and strange. Welcome back, descendant of the first builders. The words hung in the air. First builders? Erlkar whispered, stepping closer to the elder. He means humanity? The elder's hand shook on his staff. Impossible. Humanity vanished millennia ago. Their homeworld was destroyed, their colonies lost. They were extinct. Elias swallowed hard, confusion and fear rising in him. I don't understand. You said my DNA. It's what? Special? The scanner's hum deepened. Energy flowed through the room like a river of light. Then, as if in answer to his question, visions filled his mind. Images flashed faster than he could process. Distant worlds, ancient ships traveling between stars, seeds of life spreading across the galaxy. He saw alien species being guided, shaped, and sometimes abandoned. The stars themselves seemed to bend to a will older than time. A voice older than the galaxy whispered inside his mind. We created life. We left fragments of ourselves in all beings. We vanished to protect you from the swarm. You are our return. Elias staggered, feeling as if the floor itself had disappeared beneath him. We humans created all this. All of them? He gestured to the aliens in the chamber. The Draxonians, the Vera, the Lurians, every proud warrior who had ever doubted him. They all came from us? Relkar's antennae twitched in disbelief. Yes, every species carries a piece of human design. But only pure descendants, only those with untouched lineage can awaken Project Origin. The Draxonian roared, anger and pride colliding. So we were nothing? Our strength, our history, our victories. Meaningless? No, Elias said softly, finding his voice. Not meaningless. We made you. We guided you. You are the legacy of what came before. But the galaxy was never ours to dominate. It was ours to protect. The elder stepped forward, pale but resolute. If what you say is true, then humanity has always been the beginning, and now it has returned? Elias clenched his fists. He had never wanted power, had never sought glory. He had only survived, fought for what little he could save. But now, staring at the alien council and the machines of origin, he understood the weight of his place. The scanner pulsed stronger, reacting to his resolve. Symbols and diagrams appeared across the chamber, mapping ships, star systems, and unknown energies. It was a blueprint of the galaxy, all tied to Project Origin, a network of power waiting for a commander, waiting for the one human whose bloodline carried the spark of creation. Elias's heart pounded. If I'm the key, then what do I do? What can I do against the swarm? Relkar stepped closer, trembling. You are not just the key. You are the conductor. The swarm is coming. It consumes everything. No army, no weapon, no planet can stop it. But with Origin, with you, we have a chance. Outside the chamber, alarms began to sound. The council elder looked toward the domed ceiling, which displayed the galaxy in real time. Shadows moved across star systems like ink spilling in water. The void swarm had arrived. Elias felt the pulse of energy inside him respond faster, stronger. The scanner's hum grew into a deep roar, almost protective. He could feel the structure of the galaxy itself. Planets, moons, fleets, and stars, as if it had become a part of him. He looked at the alien warriors, once proud and mocking, now silent and terrified. We can't just watch them destroy everything, he said, voice steady despite the fear in his heart. We have to fight. We have to survive. And I think we can. The elder nodded slowly, awe replacing fear. Then humanity has truly returned, not to conquer but to lead, and you human will carry the weight of the galaxy. Elias took a deep breath. He felt small. He felt vulnerable, but he also felt alive in a way he never had before. The ancient power of the first builders flowed through him, patient and waiting. The scanner's light flared, surrounding him completely. Energy streamed from the floor, the walls, the ceiling, connecting every ship, every warrior, every hope. The first step of Project Origin was complete, and as the distant stars flickered under the shadow of the void swarm, Elias whispered to himself, "If we're the beginning, then we will also be the end of them." For the first time, the galaxy felt the return of its lost human legacy. The alarm screamed across the chamber, but Elias hardly noticed. His eyes were fixed on the stars above the domed ceiling, where shadows stretched across star systems like ink spilled across the void. The void swarm had arrived, a wave of darkness, endless and merciless, consuming everything in its path. Entire fleets had already been destroyed. Entire worlds had vanished. The alien warriors looked around in panic, some shaking, some frozen with fear. Corvran growled, pacing in place. "There is no way to stop them. We've tried everything. All our fleets have failed." Elias didn't answer immediately. He could feel the pulse of origin, the energy of the ancient first builders running through his veins. It was a hum in his chest, a rhythm that synced with his heartbeat. He could feel the galaxy itself, the planets, the fleets, the very stars responding to him. Relkar stepped closer, trembling. "You can stop them, Elias, you must. The scanner chose you because only a human can activate origin. Only you can control it." Elias swallowed hard, fear pressing against him like a weight he could barely lift. He had survived battle after battle in his life, but this was beyond any war he had ever faced. The galaxy itself was dying, and the responsibility was his alone. He took a deep breath and raised his hands. Energy surged outward, forming a faint glow around him. The ancient ship, buried beneath the planet, began to rise slowly, breaking through the chamber floor. It stretched higher and higher, massive as a city, shimmering with light and power. Its hull gleamed with alien symbols, each one pulsing in response to his touch. "This is it," Elias whispered. "This is origin." The aliens watched in awe, some kneeling, some unable to believe what they were seeing. The winged Vera soldier stepped forward cautiously. "It's beautiful. But will it be enough?" Elias clenched his fists. "It has to be." Outside the chamber, the first tendrils of the swarm struck. Black writhing clouds of energy and metal slammed into planetary defenses. Explosions lit the sky, tearing through fleets, shattering ships like glass. The Council's holographic displays showed destruction spreading faster than anyone could react. Elias's pulse synced with origin. He could feel the ship's systems responding to his thoughts, merging with his will. "Connect every fleet," he commanded through the comms. "Every species, every ship. We fight as one." The alien warriors hesitated. "He's just human," Corvran muttered. "How can he command all of this?" The elder's voice rang out, calm and decisive. "Because he carries what none of us do. The blood of the first builders. Trust him or all is lost." Elias took a deep breath. He could see through Origin's sensors, feel the swarm approaching like a living storm. Energy streaked through the ship, channels opening to the fleets, synchronizing weapons, shields, and engines. He raised his hands and beams of light shot into space, connecting ships across the galaxy. The first counterattack began. Fleets fired together, coordinated by Origin's guidance and Elias's instinct. The swarm shrieked, twisting in rage as human-led energy blasts tore through its ranks. Ships that had been destroyed rose again, repaired by the ship's automated systems, their weapons recalibrated by Elias's connection. The aliens gasped. They had never seen such coordination. They had never seen a human lead like this. Relkar's voice trembled. "He's not just controlling the ship. He's controlling the battlefield itself." Elias felt a surge of both fear and determination. The swarm was endless, but he realized something. It moved like a single mind, a predator that could be studied and predicted. He focused, tracing patterns in its attack, predicting its movements before they happened. Each pulse of origin responded to him, firing, defending, repairing, until slowly, the swarm began to falter. The chamber shook as beams of white energy erupted from origin, blasting through the closest swarm tendrils. Aliens stared in awe as the impossible unfolded. A human, small, scarred, unarmed, was bending the galaxy itself to save it. But Elias knew this was only the beginning. Every strike brought victory, yes, but also drew the attention of the swarm's core. Somewhere out there, a mind was watching, adapting, and preparing for a final assault. He looked at the alien warriors, their faces pale with awe and fear. "We survive together," he said. "We fight together, and we will not fall, not now, not ever." The scanner pulsed in approval, a deep hum that resonated through the chamber and beyond. Project Origin had chosen well. Humanity had returned not as a forgotten species, but as the spark that would ignite the galaxy's salvation. And as the first waves of the swarm recoiled under the might of the unified fleets, Elias knew the war had truly begun, and this time, they had a chance. The galaxy was burning. Black clouds of the void swarm spread across star systems, consuming fleets and planets alike. Yet in the midst of chaos, a single beacon of hope shone brighter than any star. Project Origin, alive and massive, pulsing with the will of its human host, Elias Ward. Inside the colossal command room, Elias stood at the center, glowing faintly as energy from the ship flowed through him. The hum of Origin was not just power. It was alive, patient, and demanding. It required his focus, his strength, his will, all of it. Every movement, every thought shaped the fate of the galaxy. The alien warriors had gathered behind him. Some still trembled, still doubted, but all had recognized the truth. This small human was now the commander of the galaxy's last hope. Corvran's scales gleamed in the light, though pride and skepticism warred in his eyes. The Vera Guardian's silver wings quivered with anticipation, and even Relkar, trembling but excited, looked on like a child witnessing a miracle. "Elias," Relkar said softly, voice shaking. "The swarm, it's adapting faster than any simulation predicted. They're learning from every attack, every movement. If we hesitate, we will be erased." Elias clenched his fists, feeling the pulse of Origin sync with his own heartbeat. "Then we don't hesitate. We move forward. Every fleet, every ship, every weapon. We act as one." He raised his hands, and the energy of Origin stretched outward like a web, connecting fleets across the galaxy. Ships that had been scattered, broken, and leaderless now moved as a single organism. Shields synchronized, weapons fired in perfect timing, engines accelerated as if guided by thought alone. For the first time, the galaxy fought as one under a human's command. The first wave of the swarm struck, writhing masses of darkness and energy. Elias focused, and Origin responded. Beams of white-blue energy lanced through the shadows, disintegrating tendrils, shattering ships corrupted by the swarm. The alien warriors gasped as each strike seemed preternatural, as if Elias could see the enemy before it even moved. But the swarm was relentless. For every tendril destroyed, another emerged. For every fleet saved, a world was swallowed. The weight of the galaxy pressed down on Elias, heavier than any armor he had ever worn, heavier than any battlefield he had survived. He gritted his teeth and shouted, "We will not fall. We will survive." The energy around him flared, responding to his words. A shock wave rippled outward, repelling the nearest swarm forces. But Elias felt it in his chest. The strain, the sheer force required to maintain control. Sweat dripped down his brow, his muscles burned, and yet he could not stop. He could not afford to. Corvran roared and charged forward, rallying the alien warriors.
"For survival!"
"Follow him!" The Vera Guardian's wings spread wide, carrying her through the chaos as she fired synchronized energy volleys. Even species-long thought inferior joined the ranks, inspired not by a promise of power but by the courage of a single human. Relkar's voice broke through the comms. "He's not just fighting them. He's teaching them. The coordination. It's impossible without Origin and him." Elias's vision blurred. He could feel the swarm probing, testing, searching for a weakness. Somewhere deep in the massive darkness, a consciousness was forming, shaping the attack, adapting to every strike. He knew it would come for him directly. He steadied himself, feeling the hum of Origin coursing through his veins. "Then I'll meet it," he whispered. "Face it. If this is what it takes to protect everyone, then I will not hesitate." Energy flared around him like a storm. The ships around the galaxy pulsed in sync, their weapons firing in harmony with Origin. Beams of light carved paths through the shadows, and for a moment the galaxy held its breath. And then the swarm surged. A massive tendril broke through the defense lines, heading straight for Origin's core. Elias's heart raced, every pulse syncing with the ship's systems. He placed both hands on the console, pushing every ounce of his being into control. The ship responded instantly. Shields flared, cannons charged, energy streamed outward in a blinding wave. The tendril was obliterated before it even reached the hull. Elias felt the strain in his body and pain, exhaustion, fear, but also something else, resolve. A calm that cut through the storm. The alien warriors stared in awe, realizing the impossible truth. This human was not only a soldier, he was a protector, a leader, a symbol. Humanity had returned not to dominate but to save, to inspire, to lead where no other species could. Elias looked across the stars. The battle was far from over. The swarm was endless, relentless, and smarter than anyone could have imagined. Yet he felt hope, a burning, unbreakable hope, and he whispered to himself, voice low but unwavering, "We fight, we survive, and we will not let the darkness win." The galaxy pulsed with life through him. Project Origin was awake. Humanity's legacy had returned, and Elias Ward was ready to carry it through the impossible. The galaxy trembled. The void swarm had gathered its mightiest forces, a shadow larger than entire star systems, writhing and endless. Every fleet, every planet, every being in the galaxy seemed insignificant before its relentless advance. Yet, in the center of it all, a single ship pulsed with life and light, Project Origin, guided by Elias Ward. The colossal vessel glowed like a beacon, its energy streaming outward in intricate patterns that linked every fleet across the galaxy. Beams of white-blue light tore through the swarm's tendrils, disintegrating the darkness before it could consume more worlds. Ships that had been destroyed rose again, repaired and refueled by Origin systems, their weapons coordinated as though one mind controlled them all. Inside the command room, Elias stood with his hands on the central console, his body trembling from exhaustion. His chest glowed with the energy of Origin, flowing through him, syncing with his heartbeat and merging with his will. Sweat streamed down his face, but his eyes burned with determination. He felt the weight of every life in the galaxy pressing down on him. He felt the fear, the hope, the desperation of billions. Relkar's voice trembled in his comms. "Elias, the core swarm is approaching. It has identified you. It knows you are the command. If it reaches you..." Elias cut him off, voice firm despite the fear gnawing at him. "It won't, not today. We fight, every second counts. Focus the fleets on its tendril. Don't let it isolate me." The first strike came massive and violent. A shadow larger than a planet surged toward Origin, writhing with intelligence, striking at the ship's hull. Elias felt the pull, the force threatening to tear him from the console. His muscles burned, his vision blurred, but he pressed on. "Now," he shouted. Energy surged from Origin in perfect rhythm with his heartbeat. Shields flared, cannons fired, and tendrils of light cut through the darkness. The swarm recoiled, hissed, and twisted, but it was relentless. The alien warriors watched, awestruck. Korvron roared, rallying his troops. "This human, he commands power greater than we imagined. Follow him!" Even the Vera Guardian spread her silver wings wide, her energy blast synchronized with the ship's pulses. Every species, every warrior moved as one. The impossible was happening. A human, small and once overlooked, was holding the galaxy together. Inside Elias's mind, visions of the first builders surged. He saw their sacrifices, their creation of life across the stars, their decision to vanish to protect the galaxy from threats beyond comprehension. And now he was carrying that legacy. Humanity had returned not as conquerors but as saviors. A new surge of the swarm attacked faster and smarter. Tendrils reached for Origin's core, seeking to destroy him, to end the hope he carried. He felt the weight of it all, the lives of billions, the promise of every species, and the centuries of sacrifice from a race long thought extinct. With a deep breath, he pressed all his energy into Origin. Beams of pure light shot outward, slicing through the swarm like a river of fire. The darkness screamed, twisting in pain, and then began to break apart, unable to withstand the coordinated power. Elias felt every strike, every pulse, every life as if it were his own. Exhaustion clawed at him, but he refused to yield. The swarm shrieked as its mass began to falter, splitting and retreating under the brilliance of Origin. He looked out at the alien fleets, their faces reflecting awe, hope, and gratitude. "We survived because we stood together," he whispered. "We survived because we never gave up. This is what it means to protect life." The final wave of the swarm surged, massive and desperate, but Elias met it head-on. He focused, every thought guiding Origin's energy. Light tore through darkness until the last tendrils dissolved into nothingness. The galaxy fell silent for a moment, awed by the victory. Origin hummed softly, energy flowing gently now. The fleet stabilized, worlds began to recover, and the alien warriors slowly realized what had happened. Humanity, once thought extinct and weak, had returned, not to dominate, but to inspire. Elias sank to his knees, exhausted, yet a faint smile formed on his lips. He had carried the weight of the galaxy, fought the impossible, and survived. Around him, alien warriors bowed, not in submission but in respect and understanding. The council elder approached, voice filled with reverence. You have done what no one else could. You are humanity reborn, and the galaxy owes you its life." Elias shook his head softly. "We all did this together. Humanity is not just one person. It is every life that believes in hope, that fights even when the odds are impossible." The scanner pulsed one final time, gentle and approving. A faint echo of the first builders whispered across the chamber, carrying a message of peace and pride. "Humanity has returned, not to rule but to remind you what courage is," the voice said. And across the galaxy, as stars began to shine again in worlds once darkened by fear, a single truth became clear. Humanity had awakened, and its legacy would endure for all time. Elias looked at the stars, energy from Origin fading into a calm glow. He whispered softly, a promise to the universe. "We were made to survive the impossible, and we will never stop protecting it." The galaxy, for the first time in millennia, breathed in relief and hope. Humanity's light had returned, not as a conqueror, but as a guardian, heeded our peace. Earth's final words turned laughter into silence and extinction.